For centuries, we believed Egypt was the cradle of civilization, the first great empire to shape the world. Pyramids, pharaohs, hieroglyphs, ... That was the beginning, or so we thought. What if I told you that story is wrong? What if another, far older empire, a true global power, existed thousands of years before the first pharaoh? And what if the proof, hidden for millennia beneath the waves, just surfaced in 2025? This isn't just a theory anymore. This changes everything. It all started with a set of anomalous sonar readings. In late 2024, a team of oceanographers led by Dr. Eris Thorne was mapping the mid-Atlantic ridge. They weren't looking for history. They were studying tectonic plates, but their equipment picked up something impossible: a series of perfectly straight lines and right angles on the seafloor, 2 miles down. These weren't natural formations. They were too geometric, too symmetrical. They looked like the layout of a city. The initial reaction from the scientific community was skepticism. A city in the middle of the Atlantic. It sounded like a Jules Verne novel. Most dismissed the readings as equipment malfunction or wishful thinking, but Dr. Thorne was persistent. He secured funding for a submersible expedition, and in the spring of 2025, his team descended into the abyss. What they found would rewrite our history books. The first images that came back were breathtaking. These weren't just lines. They were massive, sunken structures. Great monolithic walls, taller than a 10-story building, covered in a strange, iridescent coral. They saw what looked like grand boulevards, plazas, and the foundations of colossal buildings, all arranged in a complex, star-shaped pattern. The scale was immense, far larger than any known ancient city. They had found it. A lost civilization swallowed by the ocean. They named it Ethelgard, the noble enclosure. But the most incredible discovery was yet to come. Inside what appeared to be a central temple, they found a chamber miraculously sealed from the surrounding water. Using a robotic arm, they managed to breach the entrance. The chamber was not flooded, and inside, preserved in the cold, dark, oxygen-free environment, were artifacts. They found objects made from an unknown metallic alloy that showed no signs of corrosion. They found crystalline tablets, etched with a language unlike any other. It was a language of intricate spirals and geometric shapes, far more complex than early cuneiform or hieroglyphs. This is where the story takes an unbelievable turn. A young linguist and cryptographer on Thorne's team, Dr. Lena Petrova, had been working on a radical theory. She believed all ancient languages stemmed from a single proto-language, a mother tongue. Using advanced AI and quantum computers, she had been trying to reconstruct it. When she saw the etchings from Ethelgard, she knew this was it. The patterns matched her theoretical models perfectly. For months, Lena and her team worked tirelessly. The world watched, holding its breath. And then, a breakthrough. They began to translate the tablets. The story they told was astounding. Ethelgard wasn't just a city, it was the capital of a global empire that flourished over 15,000 years ago. They called themselves the Stargazers, and they were masters of astronomy, engineering, and something they described as vibrational harmonics. The tablets described a world we can barely imagine. The Stargazers had a deep understanding of the Earth's energy fields. They didn't build with brute force. They used sound and frequency to shape and move stone, explaining the impossibly large megaliths. Their power grid wasn't based on electricity, but on harnessing the planet's natural resonances. They were a civilization of profound peace and interconnectedness, not just with each other, but with the planet itself. The tablets spoke of a great consciousness that flowed through all living things. They weren't conquerors in the way we understand. Their influence spread not through war, but through knowledge. They sent emissaries across the globe, teaching other early human tribes about agriculture, astronomy, and community. The tablets contained star charts that were impossibly accurate, detailing constellations that wouldn't be discovered for another 10,000 years. They even mapped the coastlines of Antarctica, free of ice. This wasn't a primitive society. In many ways, they were more advanced than we are today. But if they were so powerful, what happened to them? Why did they vanish? The final set of tablets told a tragic story. The stargazers knew about the great cycles of the planet. Their astronomers predicted a catastrophic polar shift and a resulting global flood. They knew their island continent was doomed, but their final act wasn't one of desperation. It was one of incredible compassion. Instead of trying to save just themselves, they initiated the Great Preservation. They spent their final decades meticulously recording their knowledge, their history, their philosophy, onto these indestructible crystalline tablets. They created seed banks of global flora. They sent their wisest members to the far corners of the world, not to rule, but to guide the scattered fledgling tribes of humanity that would survive the coming cataclysm. The translations revealed that the earliest myths of civilizing gods or culture heroes from Mesopotamia, Egypt, and even the Americas were not myths at all. They were the fragmented memories of the emissaries from Ethelgard, the Sumerian Oannes, the Egyptian Thoth, the Incan Viracocha. They were all stargazers, survivors of the lost empire, fulfilling a final promise to ensure that knowledge and civilization would not be lost forever. They were the ones who taught the Egyptians the basics of astronomy and engineering, planting the seeds that would grow into the Great Pyramids. Ethelgard didn't just predate Egypt, it was its benefactor. The emotional climax of this discovery came when Lena Petrova translated the final tablet, retrieved from the very center of the sealed chamber. It wasn't a record of science or history. It was a message, a letter to the future. It read, "To you who find this, know that we were here. We loved this world as you do. Do not make our mistake. We understood the music of the stars, but forgot to listen to the whisper of the earth. We grew too complex and lost our balance. The great wave is a correction, a cleansing. Live simply. Live in harmony. Remember that you are all one family, sharing one home. Carry the spark forward. We will be stardust, but our love for this world, and for you, is eternal." In that moment, an entire team of scientists, 2 miles beneath the ocean, were united in silent, tearful awe. They had set out to find a lost city, and instead, they found a message of hope, a warning, and an act of love that spanned 15,000 years. The discovery of Ethelgard has changed everything. It proves that our history is deeper and more mysterious than we ever imagined. But more than that, it gives us a new perspective on ourselves. We are not the pinnacle of civilization, but the inheritors of a legacy. A legacy of a people who, faced with their own extinction, chose not to save themselves, but to save the future, to save us. Their story is a powerful reminder that our greatest achievements are not measured in stone or gold, but in the compassion and wisdom we leave behind. The stargazers are gone, but their final act of generosity has transformed our world, connecting us to a past we never knew we had, and giving us a roadmap for a better future. The Lost Empire wasn't just a civilization, it was a promise. A promise that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit's capacity for love and hope can echo through eternity. Thanks for watching.